everyone. Welcome or welcome back. It's Paula with Paula's Imperfect Plans, and today is Transfer Tuesday. So, welcome to Transfer Tuesday. We take a look at all of our transfers toward our financial goals that we were able to make in the last week. So, Friday was a pay week for us. So those are a little bit more robust on our Transfer Tuesdays. So the amount that we were able to put toward financial goals with our paychecks after everything else was taken care of was $755.71. I had a completed mini savings challenge for $24. And I think I mentioned gosh, I don't know what video that was. Anyway, I have an accident policy, like a supplemental accident policy at my work, and this was the first time I'd ever used it. My daughter was at our local, like one of the local ponds or whatever, with the babysitter, and she jumped in barefoot and landed on a rock, and so she cut up the bottom of her foot, and it didn't need stitches or anything, but after the first after we got it cleaned up and whatever, just looking at it that night, my husband's like, we should probably take her in and see about getting some antibiotics, because it was a dirty, pond and a rock, and it was just looking kind of interesting. And so we did that. Anyway, so that I filed under the accident policy. And that was $235. And because there was no actual medical bills or costs related with that, I decided I was going to throw it in here to financial goals and do something with it that I'm focusing on right now. So that gives us a total of $1,014.71 to put towards our goals. So let's go ahead and jump over to our goal spreadsheet. Why do I procrastinate and film these really late on Tuesday nights? I have no idea. Okay, so this is my goal spreadsheet. This is from Debt Free Jessie. You can get it on her Etsy shop. Let's jump in. So the first goal, just listed in order here, is our emergency fund. We're working to build that. We are currently working on 3 months of expenses. We have the first month funded, and we are on month 2. We have $735.73 coming into this week. And then with our paycheck, we have the Save 2025 and 2025 tracker that we use. So the amount is different a little bit with every paycheck, but I'm working my way through that tracker for the year of 2025. So with this paycheck, it was $75, which puts us for month 2 at $810.73. So month 2 is 27% funded, and the entire 3-month fund is 42% funded. Next, we will go down to travel. That's sort of a peripheral goal. This friend's trip popped up. Friends of ours wanted to go up to the Minnesota Zoo with the kids last Friday, and then go to Great Wolf Lodge, to where they have the indoor water park, and spend the night. So that $540 covered our motel, our food, and all of the stuff at the zoo. That was my estimated amount. So coming into this, we had 280 saved. I did finish funding the 260 that we needed to do it. We went on payday. And so that, fully covered that. So 100% funded. We actually did end up using then some additional money from our paycheck, because I was planning on picnic lunching at the zoo, and it was hot and I was tired and the kids were tired, and I looked at my husband and I was like, I'm just buying food here. I'm just doing it. I'm not going out to the car right now to get the stuff. Okay. So then our second travel related goal, if you are new here, I spent the end of 2024 saving for a trip to the Dominican. My husband and I are celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary in November. And so the trip is entirely paid for, and I am very slowly saving up some spending money for us to take along. It's all inclusive. So, all of that stuff, flights and accommodations, and food is all taken care of. And now I'm just slowly spending money. So putting another 25 toward that, which puts that at 36% funded. and then moving up to debt. That is, I don't want to say the main focus because I continue to divert to things like travel and fun things, which is a whole nother video because I'm probably not going to stop doing that. I spent a lot of time, we spent a lot of time not being able to do any of those extra things well before my YouTube journey started, simply because between debt and lower incomes and multiple kids in daycare and the cost of living and other stuff, we just didn't have enough money to do that kind of stuff. So while I'm still working on paying off debt, and that is a focus, this is our last debt that we're working on, split up into 2 balance transfer cards. Um, I'm still finding the balance and working to find the balance because we are able to realistically do that and still do other things. Okay, so the Wells Fargo card is just getting minimum payments of $55. I was putting the minimum monthly amount that I needed to pay it off before the interest would start accruing. And then I was getting antsy and I said, there is no reason that I need to keep doing that. I'm going to funnel as much money as I can to the city card to get rid of it. And then I will be able to funnel well more than the minimum amount needed to Wells Fargo when that's finished. So the actual minimum card payment is $55. So the balance prior to that was $5,464.98. After putting that $55 on it, the balance is $5,409.98. So that particular card is 26% paid. And then we come up to the city card. This is the second balance transfer that we did from our HELOC. So, we split off this amount to another card and then continued to pay on the HELOC. Once the HELOC got down below 7,000 or something like that, I could put it on the city card. And so then we did that. So now it's all at zero interest, but this did start as one entire loan, which was our HELOC, which is our final personal debt. So I put the $235 from the accident policy reimbursement on that. I put $24 of that completed savings challenge because it was a mini that was supposed to go to debt. So I put that right on there. And then from our paycheck, once we covered, it was supposed to be more. But I did have to pay for some of the, cash flow, like expenses from the zoo that I wasn't originally, planning on needing. So I took care of those. And then we were able to put $340.71 from our paychecks toward that debt as well. So the balance going into that week this week was $1,224.58. And we put a total of $599.71 on it in the last week, which makes our current balance $624.87, which means that this particular card, this balance, this amount that started here at $26,539.98 is 98% paid, which is super exciting because I have my tracker and I'm doing that, slowly coloring that. But the number that matters, that's exciting. But more importantly, the number that matters is this 82% because this was all one loan. So that loan in itself is 82% paid off. So that is our Transfer Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would love to hear what transfers you have made towards your goals in the last week or what goals you're working on. Or if you didn't make any transfers, some of those weeks where you're like, whoof, that was not my best moment. We don't necessarily want to relive those, but it is important to acknowledge them so that, either, sometimes like life just happens and it wasn't something, necessarily an error on our end, but sometimes it's like, I know that I need to acknowledge that and move on and not do that again next time. So it's part of the process. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.